Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. Let's face it, the future is now. We're living in a connected cyber society, and we need to stop ignoring it or pretending that it's not affecting us. Join us as we explore how humanity arrived at this current state of digital reality and what it means to live amongst so much technology and data. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Black Cloak provides concierge cybersecurity protection to corporate executives and high net worth individuals to protect against hacking, reputational loss, financial loss, and the impact of a corporate data breach. Learn more at blackcloak.io. BugCrowd's award-winning platform combines actionable contextual intelligence with the skill and experience of the world's most elite hackers to help leading organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities, protect customers, and make the digitally connected world a safer place. Learn more at bugcrowd.com.
Okay, here we are, Redefining Society, another episode, another topic that it's not completely new. We talk about education quite a bit on this show. And I feel like that's really something that has to do with society, because that's how we prepare ourselves when we're young, studying, and maybe keep studying as we're going through life and stay updated, especially nowadays with technology in our radar and everything that we do. And you just cannot learn something and then say, okay, I know everything. I feel like we need to stay updated on things and sometimes even change our path during our life. So all of this to say that today we're talking about education. And we have Rick Benbow and Asia Bajaña with us. And we're going to talk about some interesting program that come from the Western Governors University, from both the administrative side, let's say, Rick representing the university, and Asia being on the side of the students, as she just joined not too long ago the courses. So we're going to start with Asia, and he giving us a little background about yourself and what brought you to join this course with the university.
Great. So hi, my name is Asia Bajaña, and I'm a software engineering student at Western Governors University. I grew up in Florida and currently live in California. I'm passionate about music design and technology, and my areas of interest are human-centered AI, data privacy and security, and open source technology. My goal is to work on tech projects that are inclusive and ethical by design and have a positive social impact. So I actually graduated with a first bachelor's degree in nonprofit management from the University of Central Florida in May 2020, and earned my certified nonprofit professional credential about a year later. I finished my degree in the early stages of the pandemic when the entire world was pretty much locked down. So instead of entering the workforce, I decided to pivot into tech, since that was originally what I wanted to go to school for. I started college full-time at 16 as a dual enrollment student at Valencia College with the intent of getting a CS or IT degree. I took a few programming and IT courses and liked them a lot, but I was extremely burnt out by the end of my senior year and didn't think I was cut out for a rigorous STEM degree anymore. I was always considered bright and intelligent and definitely capable, but I struggled most of my life with anxiety and depression due to undiagnosed autism and chronic pain due to migraines and endometriosis. I graduated high school in 2016 and only needed like 3 classes to finish my associate's degree, but I decided to take a gap year instead so I could focus on my health and figure out what I wanted to major in when I went back to school. So I lost my health insurance during my gap year when I turned 19 and wasn't really ready to go back to school since I couldn't really do anything about my health, but I finished my AA anyway and transferred to UCF in fall 2018. I picked nonprofit management because I thought it would be fulfilling to working in a field where I could serve communities in need and advocate for good causes, but I realized when it was too late that I hated the idea of working in a people-facing role where I would have to heavily mask and pretend I'm super extroverted in order to do my job. During lockdown, I started researching more about social entrepreneurship and different types of social enterprises, and thought that the world needed more tech companies like ProtonMail or Signal, for example, which have strong social values and creates digital products and services that don't exploit people's data or right to privacy. I felt inspired and motivated since I didn't want to let my first degree go to waste. So I started taking program and UX design courses on Coursera and was accepted into Master of Entrepreneurship program at UF in fall 2021. My goal with grad school was to learn the business side of things so I could someday start my own tech B corporation or nonprofit, but unfortunately I had to withdraw after a semester after I was hospitalized for 3 days due to complications of a suspected autoimmune disorder and the extreme brain fog that lingered for months after that.
Well, you have a lot of story here. Let me stop you because maybe we want to dig into it as we go into this this conversation. Yeah. But I feel like I could have already asked you a million questions, going from the diversity side of things to the neurodivergency to your interest in artificial intelligence, which I could have an entire story just for that. But before we go there, let's give the word to Rick. And Rick, a little bit about yourself. What is your role with the university? And then we can chat about how these two sides meet together.
Fantastic. Marco, let me just start off with saying thank you for the opportunity to talk about WGU. It's not very often that we get the opportunity to interact with the student on an interview, to hear their story and see how WGU is impacting their lives. And essentially, that is what we do. That is our mission, to impact lives for the better, or changing lives for the better through education. And we do that by removing barriers for students to pursue higher education. And I think you heard from Asia's story some of the hurdles or barriers that she had on her journey along her way to WGU. WGU is the nation's first and largest competency-based university. We were founded 25 years ago by 19 Western state governors, really developed to address the needs of those students who weren't necessarily served well by traditional universities, and removing those barriers just in terms of financial and flexibility. Again, as a competency-based university, we allow our students to progress as they can demonstrate mastery and skills of specific competencies. And we believe that model, along with our 6-month flat tuition rate, gives students the ability to actually see the end of their journey, understanding the time commitment, understanding the financial commitment. A semester at WGU, Western Governors University, is a little over $4,000 per 6-month term. And so again, the competency-based model, we allow our students to complete as many courses within that 6 months without the price of that tuition increasing for that 6-month term. Again, this gives a little bit of ownership to those students who can leverage prior learning experience, control costs, and control time in their education endeavors. And the ironic that your podcast is termed Redefining Society. We absolutely believe that we are helping redefine the society by, again, giving those students who weren't necessarily well served the opportunity to pursue their higher education endeavors. And then this is just one example of how we're doing that, how we're removing barriers, and again, giving people the opportunity to enhance their skill set, increase their value in the workforce, and ultimately reinvigorate the promise of higher education, which is a job opportunity, a resilient job opportunity at the end of that journey, and the opportunity to advance overall as society. We absolutely believe that as a society, we all do better if we can all pursue that opportunity from an equitable standpoint. And so this is our mission, and this is what we're here to do. And again, just happy to join the podcast and talk a little bit more about some of the exciting scholarships and things that we're doing to help remove those barriers.
That's exactly what we are going to do in Asia. I mean, you said something at the beginning as you were explaining your kind of change of heart or interest from one career to another. And you said, and catch my attention, and it was too late. And I know what you were referring because you were already into that course. But what I feel is like now with technology and with this different approach to education, I don't know if it's ever too late maybe we want to talk about that, like that we are allowed in this society nowadays to change our careers at any time. I mean, I'm 54 years old and I feel like I'm keep changing. I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. So Asia, what was that made you change your mind and your heart into choosing a different career?
So I chose nonprofit management because honestly, like it wasn't really that intellectually like challenging, I guess. Like I kind of needed that break from like having to think too hard. Just because I was really burnt out like from high school and like dealing with like undiagnosed like autism and stuff like that. I wasn't diagnosed until I was 24 years old last year. So it kind of put into perspective like why my experiences were like this growing up and like why I had to, and I also have ADHD as well. So that was also like another reason why I found it really difficult to do work that required a lot of like mental energy and stuff. So yeah, the reason I said it felt too late at the time was because I was already really deep into my program. Was maybe like 1 year left, like a couple of semesters left in my first bachelor's degree. And I'm like, well, I'm already made it this far, so I might as well finish it out type thing. Because otherwise I would have had to go back to school to like do all the 4-year program for like prerequisites and stuff like that again. So when I moved to California, I'm like, I don't really want to go back to grad school again because it's not really that flexible because I'm still working on like a typical semester school schedule time. So when I was doing research, I'm like, I still wanted like a formal STEM degree, but I also wanted something that was still flexible enough where I could, manage my doctor's appointments and therapy sessions and like just kind of breaks I needed to kind of just recuperate and stuff like that. So I decided to enroll in WGU in October 22 because of their flexibility, and I graduated from an online high school that operated in a similar way. So it's nice being able to work on my own time and pace again. Yeah.
That's very good. And I think, Rick, I guess you may have something to say about the way that you structure the courses and this vision to make it more accessible, more flexible for people to join the college, the university.
Absolutely. Again, our founders were ingenious in helping us establish Western Governors as a competency-based university 25 years ago, and really establishing ourselves as a nonprofit university, being very, very student-centric, meeting students where they are.
Can you tell for the audience what does exactly mean to be nonprofit university?
Nonprofit is, we're not in this for the profit. We're not answering to shareholders. Our shareholders are our students. We want to ensure that we can deliver on the promise of making sure that they earn or acquire or attain the skills in high demand fields. We work very closely with employers to make sure that our courses are structured in which we have the latest skills and competencies associated with specific courses, again, leading to the demand of skills in the workforce. And so we're structured in that way. And I think Asia spoke to it earlier, that she can go at her own pace. One of our founders just in general, base it up on skills and competencies. And again, as students master those skills and competencies associated with a course, they can advance. And so again, those students who are determined and motivated can accelerate as fast as they would like. Or those individuals who may have time constraints, family obligations, or different work hours, they can choose to attend courses on their time, take exams on their time, which makes it, again, a very flexible, accessible model in which we think students, again, who are not well served by traditional higher ed, who have more rigid schedules and timeframes, it makes higher education a possibility. They don't have to choose between, taking care of themselves, taking care of their families, taking care of, financial obligations, and going to college or pursuing higher education. Again, we've tried to remove those barriers and make it as accessible and flexible to our student population as possible. And so, yeah, again, just being very, very student-centric and mindful of some of the friction points that our students would experience at a traditional university.
And this makes just perfect sense for Asia to feel more comfortable in this kind of course than would have been in other way. Let's talk, Asia, about your choice and love for technology and open source and artificial intelligence and all of that. I'd love to know what is the motivating you. I talk about technology and humanity a lot, and I always feel like what's serving what. We actually have a show called Redefining Technology, when I say, we need to use technology to make our life, our society better. So, there is a redefining society and a redefining technology in order to serve that. So I'm curious, what is that is driving you to study this field?
So I've noticed that like when apps, are first like incepted, like I'm sure like things like Facebook at the time, for example, it was initially meant to just like connect with people, like friends and family and like coworkers and like just people like in your general network, right? But now it's kind of metastasized into like this multi-billion-dollar like, very like invasive, like pretty much just advertising company, posing as just a social media company where like 92% of like their revenue is from data, like tracking people online, like their data and targeted ads and all that. And I feel like, if we were to give people like informed consent about like, what they're actually doing with your data and stuff like that, people would, give an opt-in option or something like that. But I don't think a lot of people realize like how much of their like personal life is being monetized from like data companies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, and I completely agree. I'm going to jump in myself. I mean, the company, many times they're born with the founder's idea that they need to serve a certain purpose, but then the purpose become the money and the shareholder, and all they want is
public,
and so they kind of like move their vision. And I don't know if you want to talk about Google. I remember their mantra was "do no evil," and a lot of people like now make sense about that, because I feel like maybe there is a little bit of evil there. So I agree with you.
And also things like TikTok, where they're kind of engineered to kind of keep you hooked on the app. And same with Instagram and stuff like that. And I don't think we really realize like how much these addictive types of apps are like affecting, especially like impressionable like children and stuff like that. It's causing more depression in people. And again, like I'm sure in the beginning when someone first thought of this idea, it was intentionally to just be like, oh, like you can make videos online, but then like it always, at some point when apps start making money and like becomes public and like shareholders start having to say, like it just becomes like this kind of capitalist monster that like turned into something that like wasn't really the original really mission or purpose in the first place, I guess.
No, I agree. So technology to serve, again, as I said before, humanity. So what comes first? Like, are we following the blinking lights, or are we saying this is what we need? Let's build the technology to do this. And I'm going to go back to Rick here, because your courses do, if I understand correctly, and tell me if I'm not, do focus on technology. And you also, I'm assuming, you do use technology yourself to give the better chances to students to participate at their own leisure. I mean, I go back and I think many, many years ago, without the internet, there wasn't really an option. I mean, so tell me maybe about the role of technology and the value that a more advanced way to see education may bring to everybody.
Fantastic. Thanks again, Marco. I should probably state that we have 4 different colleges and 60-degree programs, both at the bachelor's and master's levels, in high demand fields. And so we have our School of Education, our Levitt School of Health, our College of Business, and of course, our College of Information Technology. It just so happens that today we're talking about technology.
Okay. And our thank you for explaining that.
But just in general, you're absolutely right. Again, we were invented 25 years ago, just as the internet was coming on board. And I think this is probably one of the more innovative things that WGU did 25 years ago, was really leveraging the technology to meet students where they are and coming up with a model of education where students can access it in a flexible and affordable way. Again, removing those barriers and opening up opportunities to more students to pursue higher education, even those adult learners who have some college and no degree, and because of some circumstances had to drop out. There was no viable pathway that allowed them to kind of like pursue education. Just a little anecdotal story as I kind of like reflect on why WGU for me. I commuted from Long Beach to a well-known university here in Los Angeles. It's a 28-mile commute. 28 miles actually took 2 hours both ways. And one of the thoughts I had on my way to work and even home, and just kind of stuck with me, if I'm looking to upskill and improve my circumstances, and education is that surest way to the next opportunity, in that dynamic of having to support a family and work 2 hours away, what educational opportunity is it if I just look at it from the lens of the traditional model? It became very difficult to even consider enrolling in a traditional school, just kind of given the time commitment of traffic, the time commitment to get to the campus, the time commitment to sit through a 4-hour class 3 or 4 days a week, and then ultimately the commute at home, only to start the cycle over again. The prospect of the time commitment and the mental stress of dealing with all that, pursuing additional degree, upskilling, taking additional courses, became an insurmountable task, just kind of given the nuances of that dynamic. I was contacted by WGU and learned a little bit more about online competency, accessing courses on your time, leveraging what you may already be learning on your job to help you accelerate through courses and material that you may already know, so you have more time to focus on the things that you don't know. That became the answer in terms of anybody dealing with those type of circumstances, be it time commitment, limited time because of family obligations or work obligations, taking care of your mother, taking care of your children, financial constraints. Those barriers have been removed with WGU. Us being student-centric, being nonprofit, lowering our tuition to the point where it's just a little over $4,000 per 6-month term, and the ability to take as many courses as you can finish within that 6-month term and still be able to control the price. Mm-hmm. To me, that opens up the door to a number of students who find themselves grappling with, how do I improve my circumstances, understanding that education is the surest pathway to that opportunity? WGU is that way. It gives you that opportunity. It gives you the chance to improve your circumstances. And again, just happy and grateful that I have the opportunity to try to make this available to all. And we help, again, mitigate some of those financial obligations through specific scholarships.
Let's talk about that, because there is an equal opportunity. And I want to hear Asia on this as well. With your background, Asia, in all the stories that you're telling and the difficulty that you had to deal with and how this may meet your need. But, there is an equal opportunity from a financial, social demographic perspective, but then there is an equal opportunity that we talk more and more. And I don't think we talk enough about it on how women access technology, women in cybersecurity, women in tech, and giving, this opportunity, not because we think it's important to facilitate that, but because we've been doing things wrong for a long time, right? So I think you actually got into this course through a scholarship. So maybe together, the two of you can tell me about this scholarship and how the grant, the Women in Tech program, comes to play. So Asia, first your perspective on women in tech. Why are we still talking about it?
So one of the main like reasons why I joined WGU, because I got an email from an enrollment counselor about this scholarship opportunity. Because I'm already in a lot of student debt for my grad program that I wasn't even able to finish because I got sick. So I knew I had to take out some more money out to be able to go back to school, but definitely getting a scholarship that was especially catered towards women, people like my situation where, you know, I'm Asian and Latina and I'm neurodivergent and, you know, I don't come from like a wealthy background or like someone that comes from generational wealth. So definitely scholarships are very helpful, and, you know, being able to, you know, improve my situation in a way that still works for me. Because I went to an online high school from 9th to 12th grade. I graduated from an online high school, and I liked being able to just, you know, get through classes as quickly as I could, or like take as long as I need to get through my classes. So going to like a regular college was going back to like that kind of strict, you have to finish from this time to this time, like schedule type thing. Like it was not really good for my mental health, because I don't really work on other people's time like that. Yeah, finding WGU and like that scholarship especially has been great for me, because I honestly wish I had known about WGU when I graduated high school. So I would have gone there the first time around and just been, you know, done with my degree and like probably in like a career already. But, you know, I'm 25 and I kind of feel like a late bloomer a little bit, but I feel like now it's kind of like I have a clean slate and a second chance now to kind of do what I feel like the path I should have been on this entire time. You know.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And trust me, I mean, I don't think 25 or even 35 it's too late. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, how many times, Rick, we look back and you're like, oh, if I only knew then what I know now. I mean, it's easy, right? But how do you I don't know, how do you foresee the future? And I know I'm not asking you to put a thin foil hat on it, but the university, you make this partnership, you create this scholarship. Where do you see, and who does decide what are the important group of people to help and to facilitate, and how you select your partners in doing this?
Well, again, it's ironic that we're on a podcast called Redefining Society.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you look at the makeup of those individuals who are in technology, you know, you have Black, Latina, and Native American women account for 16% of the population, but only 4% of them are in the computing workforce. You know, you look at just the CEO levels of Fortune 500 companies almost are completely absent of women of color in these positions. And so we've identified a need for more representation coming from Black, Latina, and Native American women. And we joined with Reboot Representation to address this need and created this scholarship. So thus far, we've awarded 60 scholarships at $2,500 each, $1,250 from a donor, and the other $1,250 we match from WGU for a total of $150,000. And again, on its face, in the traditional sense, $2,500 doesn't sound like a lot. But again, given our little over $4,000 6-month tuition schedule, that's a 50% tuition scholarship with the ability to accelerate at your pace. And so you can have all of that, you know, the $4,000, half of your tuition covered if you're determined and motivated to complete the program. And so again, we've identified this gap and we've partnered with Reboot Representation, and we belong to a coalition of other partners who feel the same way, that we need to address this need. So our partners in this effort or I should say members of the coalition include Walmart, Amazon, Salesforce, Verizon, Comcast, NBC Universal, LinkedIn, Adobe, and Microsoft. Those are some very influential companies who are committed to increasing diversity in the tech space, particularly for women of color. And again, this is just part of our ethos at WGU, where we serve traditionally underserved students because of our tuition model, because of our nonprofit status, because it seems to be more accessible for those individuals who are constrained by the traditional model. 70% of our students come from one or more underserved backgrounds. They're rural residents, low-income earners, first-generation college students, or students of color. Again, it is just part of the fabric of our DNA and who we are as a university. Again, to increase those pathways for those individuals who just don't, the traditional route is not serving them well. And so this is just another example, and just hearing Asia's story of how we continue to make a difference, how we continue to create pathways for individuals to pursue the things that they want to do. And I'm just excited to hear about Asia's background and the things that she would like to do, and to be part of her journey at WGU, because just hearing her story, I know that she will carry on the tradition of WGU of making an impact in her community, and do it in a way where she represents not only herself, but WGU well. And again, just happy to be part of their journey and help her pursue her passions through this scholarship.
And I would like to take your lead on these and pass the ball to Asia. And, we've got about 5 minutes left maybe on the conversation, and maybe start projecting into the future, into this vision that Rick kind of, hinted to. And Asia, what is your goal or your inspiration, your vision for, what do you want to do once you're done with the education part? How would you like to become part and contribute in I know it's in the technology field, but any vision for your future?
I think my ultimate professional goal is to probably just own my own tech company someday. I live in Silicon Valley now, so I'm surrounded by a bunch of tech bros, and a lot of the CEOs here are just white men. There's not really a lot of female representation in executive positions in tech or anything like that. So I think it would be kind of really cool one day to, be someone, that, is a minority and a woman and comes from has a neurodivergent as well. And being able to be in a leadership position in that way, that kind of breaks the mold and stereotype that people kind of have in their minds when they think of someone that's a CEO or big tech hotshot, something like that,
That's wonderful. I completely support that, and I hope that's going to be part of your path. I mean, I had conversation with people that have their own business, women of colors, women of Asian provenance, even somebody from the Eastern Europe not too long ago, and they're all there is an artificial intelligence group of women that are investors, or they have startup in that area. CES in Las Vegas just happened less than a month ago, and we talked to some women leading the pace in Europe, in Switzerland and so forth, and working on what is known as a tech for good or business for good, where you do something good for the environment, for the health, for society in general, and you also make money and you give jobs to people. So that's really nice. Asia, I'm curious. You mentioned artificial intelligence in open source in one of your initial presentation. In your initial presentation, what is fascinating you the most about artificial intelligence? Are you afraid of it, or are you welcoming it?
I definitely think it could be used for things like that, but I definitely think we should be focusing on human-centered artificial intelligence. So, creating algorithms and like things that like where it serves us and not like goes against us or is used to exploit, people in society in general. Yeah, like for example, like everyone's talking about like Chat GPT now, and I actually use Chat GPT to help make like user profiles for my UX user experience design course WGU as like a aid, as a helpful like help me come up with like a user profile for a 30-year-old woman that is a marketing manager, wants to go on vacation here, for example. And it helped create something like that for me. And I think it's interesting how like things like that can be used as like aids or tools to help, make your workflow go a little faster for things that, you don't really want to focus on. So you can, work on other things that are, require more of your time, for example.
I love that, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of people are scared. A lot of people make sensational headlines on there's no more writers because AI is going to take over writing Chat GTP in this case for everyone. And I'm like, well, maybe if you're a very mediocre writer, you may be scared about it. But if you're good at what you do, I don't think you're going to have the problem. But again, I agree with the fact that AI and technology should support what we do, not take our place, but help us to focus on what is maybe more important. So that's a beautiful vision.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be like, like an ethics community, like in governments also, to kind of like make regulations about like how artificial intelligence can be used like on a large scale like that, to avoid things like, the conspiracy theorists saying like, oh, like AI is gonna like cause mass human extinction one day, something like that,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there is a lot of conversation going on right now, and I'm sure we're going to keep talking about that. Like even disciplines like philosophy now, they are much more relevant when we talk about how we do interact with artificial intelligence and technology. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, I should have go and study philosophy back in my days, but you can still study now and be keeping the rhythm of all the change because technology is really changing so much. I'd like to finish here, giving an opportunity for to Rick to maybe make one call for other student, maybe like Asia, that can find the good path and the good course that may fit their schedule on the university, on the Governor University.
Fantastic, Marco. I just want to say that our goal with this effort is really in partnership with Reboot Representation, is that by 2025, we want to support 552 Black, Latina, Native American women in the computing tech space and help them pursue their bachelor's degree in completion at WGU. That'll be a 251% increase in 2025 compared to the baseline year of 2021. We're looking for other individuals just like Asia who find themselves in circumstances in which the traditional route is not serving them well, to reach our goal again of creating a new pipeline of talent for women of color in the technology space, and welcome the opportunity to be a part of those journeys as well, as we look for and continue to carve out equitable pathways for all in helping them reach their desired goals or their desired outcomes. And I would invite anybody who is interested, if it's not technology, maybe there's something in business, if you're passionate about teaching or even passionate about the healthcare industry. Again, we have 4 different colleges that cover those different fields in 60-degree programs. And I would invite individuals who are interested or find themselves in circumstances and they want to pursue higher education and don't think it's possible to do a traditional means or a traditional pathway, to visit our website at www.wgu.edu. And again, we're here to help and serve. And one thing I will mention that kind of makes us unique and different from other universities is that we have program mentors that are with that student from the moment they enroll to the moment that they graduate. And I think that's just another component in which we're being very student-centric, and we help that journey or help that student along their journey to completion. And again, it's just something that we do to try to help ensure that our students are successful.
That's great. Asia, anything you want to add before we say goodbye to our audience?
I just want to say that I'm just glad that the school exists. And, like, I really do wish that I was just able to do this right after high school. Like, this is honestly like the only, type of school that, I've ever been comfortable and like where I feel like I can actually like succeed and excel in this type of format. So, yeah.
Wow, there couldn't be a better review, Rick, than this one, don't you think? I think it's perfect.
Absolutely. And again, I'm just grateful that we can be a part of her journey and help her achieve her goals.
That's fantastic. And I want to close here by thanking you both for bringing the perspective of the university and the student. And I wish both of you the best. And I invite the audience to learn more about the university. There will be notes and way to get in touch with Rick and Asia if she wants to share her social media or whatever, or not, but you should check the notes and share the conversation. Maybe there is people now that and they will be very interested to join this kind of opportunity. So again, this was Redefining Society. Education is and was and it will be also always the topic that we need to cover. Very important for creating the society that we want. And that's what we're trying to do here on Redefining Society. So Rick, again, thank you so much. Asia, thank you so much. And for everybody listening, take care. Stay tuned for another episode of Redefining Society on ITSP Magazine.
BugCrowd's award-winning platform combines actionable contextual intelligence with the skill and experience of the world's most elite hackers to help leading organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities, protect customers, and make the digitally connected world a safer place. Learn more at bugcrowd.com. Black Cloak provides concierge cybersecurity protection to corporate executives and high net worth individuals to protect against hacking, reputational loss, financial loss, and the impacts of a corporate data breach. Learn more at blackcloak.io.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.